Alright guys, so I've got my new fish here that are for this tank. I've turned all the lights off. I'm going to slowly acclimatise them to this water via one of these Aqua Habitat TMC drip acclimators. They're really handy, so you don't have to be tying knots in airline and what have you. This just hangs on the side of the tank and it will slowly drip the water from the main tank into the bag, and then when they're about the same I can take the fish out and put them into their new home. So there you go. Okay guys, so I've got my first inhabitants, which if you can just see, I can't even see them now, they are in there. I've got 2 blue banded pipefish, and then in here I've got this tiny little goby who is really cool, and they swim vertically. I can't think of the name of it right now, but they are really cute. They're really, I'm going to go really nano with this tank, and yeah, they sort of swim upright. They're really cute. Probably won't see it for a while, it'll probably disappear for a little bit. So I'm going to get these acclimated. So what I've got here is I've got my jug here. I'll wrap a little bag around it, keep it nice and dark. I'm going to put one bag in and then slowly drip the water from the tank. I have my acclimator thing here that just hangs on, and let that do its thing for an hour or so, or until all the water matches nicely. They've been floating in here for a little while now, so yeah, let's get this job done. I love this little bit of kit. So it's so easy. You just hook this over the top, then you start a siphon. It's got a little gate valve thing on it so it doesn't back siphon into anything, and then you can just slowly drip, acclimate or acclimatise your fish to your water. It's got a little sponge filter so it doesn't get clogged up. It just sticks to the side of the glass. Yeah, really easy. I like this. We've been acclimating for a little while now. We know the temperature inside the bag is the same as the tank, and now I'm just going to add a few drops of this Protect. Now you do 5 drops per litre. This is a 2 litre jug. These are really nano fish, they're tiny. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do probably like maybe 3 drops, just because I don't want to go overboard with it at this stage, but it just really helps with their immunity, and that is good when introducing new fish. Okay, so we've been 90 minutes now and we've done this twice. We've emptied it and filled it back up with the tank water. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this from dripping, and I'm going to let these little fish out. Right, so what I've done is I've just hooked this bag onto the side of the tank just so that they can adjust the temperature a little bit more, just in case they got a little bit cool. So there they are, just swimming about in there. So I've just done exactly the same with my next little dude. So I'll lift him up. Let's see if you can see him. There you go, there he is. Okay, I should probably stress that these aren't beginner fish, not ideal anybody new to the hobby, because what I'm going to have to supply these guys with is a constant supply of baby brine shrimp. I think because the tank is so new, it hasn't got any colonies of copepods or any microfauna in the tank. So when adding them to a newly cycled aquarium, what you've got to do is you've got to keep on top of your supply of baby brine shrimp. Also, it's best practice to breed your own phytoplankton that you can then feed to the baby brine shrimp, and what that does is it enriches the baby brine shrimp to make them more nutritious for the fish and the corals that are going to be eating it. Now I'm really lucky. These pipefish and this goby are eating frozen lobster eggs and very small frozen mysis shrimp. So they should be absolutely fine, but I think it's really good just to encourage a bit of feeding. The problem is you can get your fish to rely on live food, and you don't want that either. So you've got to sort of play the balance. If they weren't eating, then I would have to continually supply this, but they are eating frozen, so this is kind of a little added extra. And also I really like to feed my NPS corals this as well. It's really good for non-photosynthetic corals. It really gets the I don't know, it really increases the want for the fish to feed and for the corals to feed. And obviously, if you can then grow your own phytoplankton to feed to them, at least they're getting a direct source of phytoplankton. So yeah, for me, this is just a little extra bit of the hobby. And like I said, it reminds me of when I was breeding seahorses. So I enjoy this part. So this is what I use. This is my phytoplankton reactor. So I'm going to fill it. It's got numbers on it, but you can't really see. So I'm going to fill it just a little bit with salt water, and then I add a amount of phytoplankton and then just a couple of mils of fertilizer, and that just keeps it fed. And then you've got a constant supply. After a week or so, you can then double the amount of water, well, the amount of salt water that you put in, and then you just keep doubling it. Then you get more and more and more. It will last about 12 weeks in the fridge if you put it in a bottle. You have to shake it daily. So I should have a constant supply now of phytoplankton to feed my baby brine shrimp. And then I'll be able to use that as like a coral food, and to keep these pipefish and my smaller goby really well fed, because obviously it's such a new tank. So I'm going to be feeding them about 3 times a day, very much like when I was breeding seahorses. So this is the best way I've found of keeping your baby brine shrimp. So once they've all settled to the bottom, you can just open the valve and then collect as many as you can. And what this does is it means that you can keep them refrigerated, and you've got then a continuous supply because you'll have a few days ready to go. What I'll do is you just run them under a little bit of water just to clean them up a little bit. There they are, all that shrimpy goodness. It's weird, you can see them all sort of like moving around. Get rid of that. The tap water doesn't do them any harm. And then with some of these, we take some freshly mixed salt water, just clean that out a little bit more. And you can pop a lid on that, and then you can keep that refrigerated. You see you've got all that shrimpy goodness, and then what you do is you can then sort of reactivate them with some phytoplankton and an air bubbler, just to enrich them just before feeding. So they'll last a good couple of days in your fridge, as long as you keep them nice and cold. Make sure that the pot's nice and sealed, and then you can start on another culture. So you're going to keep yourself with like a permanent supply of brine shrimp. So I've had these guys in here. They've been fed their phytoplankton. You can see they're going absolutely crazy in there. So here we go. It's time to feed these guys. They are so entertaining. They are loving each other, I tell you. They keep dancing together, which is really cute. So I'm going to turn off the skimmer and the return pump. I'm going to keep that on pause for a bit. Okay, so I've just popped everything onto feed mode. They know it's time for dinner. As you can see, they're coming up. So I've put the heater in there so I know exactly what the temperature is. Let's see if we can see. Whoa. Alright guys, so yeah, it's quite late at night. Well, and I really shouldn't have put my washing machine on. But I've got up and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to have a little look at the fish tank at night. So all the lights have come off. So let's see what's coming out. And I've got my red torch. So yeah, let's see what's in there. Giving me, oh, I think my battery's running out. It's actually giving me some ideas to maybe think. I've got all these, if I can find them. Let's see if I can. Okay, so there's one. So I've got all these, like, where are they? There you go. Like, all these baby snails that come out. Oh, look. Okay, and there's another one. So I've got all these baby snails that come out at night. And it's got me thinking what I can do as a form of cheap cleanup crew, maybe. For my reef habitat. Here we go, so I've grabbed 3 little snails here, and they're going to be the start of my cleanup crew, my reef habitat. So here are these guys here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slowly add a little bit of the water. I'm going to do it, I can't be bothered to get my drip acclimator out, so I'm just going to slowly pop in a little bit of turkey basting and come back sort of every 5 minutes.
1 hour later.
Okay, so yeah, so I've just managed to steal some cleanup crew from my other tank. So yeah, seeing as times are a little bit hard at the moment, so effectively quite a good way to get some cleanup crew for this new tank. So yeah, if you're liking these kind of videos, you're helping me, keeping me sane. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, and I'll probably see you tomorrow.